Hi, my name is Yusuf. Thank you so much for joining me, wherever you're joining from in the world, and thank you to the organizers for having me. So I'm going to read some poems from my first collection, which is called Pluviophile, which came out with Nightwood in April 2020, so not last April, but the April before that. And I'm also going to try to read some poems that I don't usually read aloud, or I haven't read aloud very often, and read at least one poem that I don't think I've ever read aloud before, just to change things up. So if you have seen me read in the last year or so, hopefully this will be a new experience for you. And I hope you all enjoy yourselves and like the poems. So this first poem is called Amperage. Why can't we harness sound for energy? Skyline powered by Chopin. Soliloquies brew our morning coffee. I understand the science, vibration wattage, yet my hands tremble to Shelley's chorus while I shiver Arctic sounds. Diminuendo gathers us to places without railings, of nearly transcendental feelings. So how can children's screams not turn an oven off? And we could animate our cars with lovers' arguments, a mother's non-stop babble jolt a Macintosh, a faucet's dribble fly a warplane. I would whisper, lay your sleeping head, my love, to flush the toilet. The next poem is also a sonnet. It's called Reading Borges on the Moon. Its darkened face is lucent, craters laddered and cliffs escalated, electric boardwalk to sublunar oceans, a stroll in a light gravity. You remembered Un Brunido Disco in your poetry, but your moon is not my moon, the one Plato marveled at when he respited from his nyctophobia, a burnt corona that blinded Homer, who couldn't spurn the beautiful, or the madder moon's omen in the sky after the battle of butter. Dream tigers prowled among poachers of starlight. In the future, I find a field of deserted moon rock and sit on a beach chair at dusk to read Borges, or to gaze at the earth, a moon to me now, scorched white from the old fires. So this next poem is one that I don't think I've ever read aloud before. It came from a pretty dark place, which you might sense while I'm reading it. And looking at it, I also realized I don't know how to actually correctly pronounce the title. It's an Arabic word, so if I do mispronounce it, please excuse me. I don't speak Arabic, unfortunately. Nakir, you flew from the city's peak with crucificial wings and dreams of hiding in depth's privacy. The angels found you, their eye teeth unearthed your journal, forced a gravestone in your mouth, carved a question in your skin with bladed wings. Who is your Lord? You chewed the granite until your teeth shattered but couldn't answer. Soil constricted as your ribs cracked and bones sank to skin in loneliness. Now you understand sudden death of raindrops, faces shattered on eavesdrops without foresight to scream. Now you understand how cavernous the mantle feels for all the stranded bones that call for home. And the next one I will read is, I think, also kind of a dark poem. This one has lines I think that I wrote when I was in my first creative writing class for the first assignment in my undergrad, so some of the lines in the poem are quite old, but the poem was revised several years later. Made in Bangladesh. How to suck blood from this blood-sucked image. A garment worker's needle is suturing the seam. She sews 1,000 polyester hearts while her singer croons. A schoolgirl breasts the clockless walls. Dhaka's illiterate mothers thread an English logo. And a factory soldier stalks the aisles, extendo lolling at his hip. Nights ago, the garment worker drowned her newborn in the toilet. Half submerged in bloody water, it groped the umbilical cord like a rescue rope. The mother snipped the line with fabric scissors. She stood on a red mirror, whispered, "All survival poems are washed in blood." And this poem, I think, is a little bit lighter, just to change the atmosphere a bit. It's called Sonnet by a Forgotten Twix Wrapper. Petaled and split, our foil innards reflect the ants who excavate for final crumbs. In nightmares we remember thumb and index vice grips, reeking Bud Light, sex, and subway poles, conjoined sleepers shrouded in the TV's halo, champing on the parted biscuits, lovey on their sugar rush, evolving such efficient jaws. Do their impatient tongues perceive our frigid factory floors, conveyor belts, and pitch-black crates that cross the ocean? Did they taste the cocoa's dreams between their lustered teeth? Now we soliloquize, though prey to seagull beaks, and sunbathe on the asphalt when the maelstroms grant us mercy. Okay, I'm going a little bit slower than I thought I would, so I think I have about a minute left. So I'll actually just read one more. This is a poem that I have read aloud before, but it's one of my favorites to read aloud, so it might be a good one to end on. And this poem was written for my father when he was in the hospital several years ago. Glossary of Air. Words are scarce in our economy of air. Your eyes resurface, gulp the hospital's austere light, dive back into body with your sun on the horizon. We never finish the library, but each of us must decide on a book to be buried with. Winds practicing scales above the deserted parking lot. You share memories made of air, flying into Montreal penniless. Years later, worn by physical labor, you nailed an office job, bought a semi-detached on Jane, thinking of air. I offer mangoes made of air, bright, golden. From sentences you pluck them. Perhaps language feels unreal because we hold on to words but never touch them. Why history's poems genuflect to your single wrinkled finger, knuckle crumpled like a page I've fallen asleep on. The ivy's droplets pool midair, fall one by one, tiny knocks before God enters the phenomenal world. Your Bengali is made of air, mine is broken. You perform tayammum with a black stone, unearthing your own father's language into prayer. Thank you so much again. I hope you liked at least one of the poems. That's always my goal. Enjoy the rest of the events. Thank you.